Everybody, this is Dr. Jackson here. And one thing that I think is very critical for education leaders to understand is how do you go about getting your troops off to a really momentous start? How you start a school year is very indicative of typically how you'll end. A lot of folks have different philosophies on how to start a school year. Many, depending on what type of school you go to, and there's some really warped and bad philosophies on how to start school years. I want to show you what I know works, and I want to show you what a lot of people are doing. Okay, what happens oftentimes is that, and this is based on what type of school you have. So when I look at the school model, traditional programs typically, those programs typically use a motivational speaker approach, right? So they bring in a big name speaker. If the district is large, they have it at a big venue, and they bring in a big time motivational speaker. He gives the rah-rah and the rah-rah for the school year. I've often said, if you think teachers need motivation, I just think you're just so disconnected from what teachers are. If you have a teacher that needs motivation, you got the wrong teacher. Teachers need education. Life change doesn't start with motivation. It starts with education. I don't need anybody to come get my teachers riled up. We're not going to play football. Teachers have to have an energy level to teach. And so the speaker's job is to get them locked into their responsibility and wanting to do it and move them forward. So a lot of districts still use the motivational speaker method. And the motivation only typically lasts, it's very short. Then you have the others who use the 2-week scope, and we do trainings through the course of the week. Now, once again, do what you have to do, but you have to make sure that you set it up so that at the end of those trainings, or however you do it, that there's some focus and an energy that you have raised in the staff that's going to maintain their focus through. So the key is here, always remember, you want to make sure you have someone who can tap into your staff's consciousness, its energy, and put good energy into the group, but also give them knowledge. Because if you have a district or a school that's critical condition and is dealing with the high levels of poverty, the mindset of poverty, the energy of poverty, and you have 100% middle class staff, you have to understand how you have to train them, because if you do it wrong, burnout will beat you. What are we talking about? So notice the energy will be up when you come back in August. But burnout kicks right in right there at the end of September, right? So you see, this is the 40 weeks of energy chart, and I can show you week by week where a teacher's energy is, because I do it all the time. I can see it in buildings. So you have to make sure that you, as a building boss or as superintendent, that your company's energy is maintained throughout the course of the year. So now notice, so if you do the right training process, you get off to a good start. The energy's good. Burnout will be there in September. However, we typically bounce back around October. When is the next time you need to get them training? Right here. Holiday time. Holiday time is when most staffs flatline. Why? Holidays about family, people. So what's the sore spot? Family, people. So that's not an exciting time for everyone in the program. A lot of people, family is not positive for them. Kids, not positive. So you see a lot of depression, anger, withdrawal. And so that's a time you have to make sure, as a building boss, as a district boss, that you infuse energy into your population to keep their energy up. Come back in January, we're doing good. Kind of hit cruise control around February. March is typically a very good year. Now, it depends on where your school is. You know, if you get out in June, your break's not to April. Okay, so March may be good or not. But if you get out in May, March is good because you can really see the end. So right in between March and April is when it starts to get weird, because we're coming into a spring break or a break period. So when people know they have a break, their energy is a little better. The thing is, everything after our Easter holiday, we've started a new school year. So the key is, we know that we have to monitor our energy after Easter break, because you just can't check it in and go to the end. So typically the worst month of the school year is May and June. So if you know that, you never ever allow your staff to go into their break with negative energy, because I need their energy and their focus up and enlightened and heightened. So that's something you have to understand. So that's the time of year you have to do training, because I need their spirits lifted as they go into the break, not down and counting down days till it's time to go. That's absolutely a failed, flawed way of using your training program. So I said all that to say this. When you talk about what we're doing for the 2020 campaign, 2019-2020 campaign, how are you starting your group off in August? Listen, you have to understand the targets that you have to put into your staff going into the school year. If you know, once again, we want to continue to set an academics first tone. We want our school year, while we build relationships, while we improve that, we want to make sure that we are academics first, and we don't ever want to lose our theme of academics. We want to set high academic expectations where we believe and know our students can learn. We're going to be patient with our students, but we're not going to tolerate foolishness. Last year, many districts, schools wasted a lot of energy tolerating a lot of foolishness and didn't get production. We're going to work with kids, but we're not going to tolerate foolishness. One of the things that particularly low testing schools must understand from day one of school, we need to introduce a test taking strategy every day. I hear a lot of teachers get upset and frustrated and say that, well, the schools that test well, all they do is teach to the test. Folks, those are the rules they gave us. I didn't make the rules. I don't even have to like the rules. This is the game they've given us to play in. We have to adjust. We have to talk testing every day. And if we don't, we won't get a result. The winning schools are testing they're always talking testing. And so the fifth thing is you got to find a way to get your staff built up. Find a way to build the staff up. And what a lot of my friends have found is training does that. Keeping their energy up, keeping them focused on the big goal, making sure they don't fall into the ruts of negativity, frustration, and doubt. And then the key, make sure your confidence is built up so you always have a polished delivery. We have to make sure we, as professionals, are working and building our confidence. It's very fragile in this business. You can have a really bad day as an educator and it has an impact on who you are. You got to always make sure your eyesight is good so you don't fall into that trap we don't get too high, we don't get too low. We don't get way up here and we don't get down there. We stay even and we always keep our energy good. And these are the targets that I know set you on a good track, whether you start in July or start in August. If you know you need help with starting your school year off, now I know our calendar's full, but I just always try to make things happen because the majority of my clients are in year programs with me, and so I have some flexibility of time I can get to them, and I always like to use that, particularly when I find really great situations and people that I know are awesome and they will be awesome for me to work with, and they want to work with us and I would want to work with them. And so that's why you always reach out. If you know you would need help in starting your July, starting your August, and you know you want to get off to a fast start and get your staff running fast with that level of focus, listen, I would love to help you. All of our available dates are below. Hey, give us a call. Let's see what we can work out. I really want you to have the best school year of your career and get those results that you know you deserve. I'm Dr. Jackson here. Very excited. Wishing you the best. I'll see you soon.